Well, this is what happened to my basil. And now I have a snake in there if they want to go back and finish it off. Well, hello, my friends. I have been a woman on a mission. I think you might know by now that I am rather a determined person, that when I have a problem, I stick with it until I have found a solution. And right now, the topmost problem that Moosie and I have is squirrels and rodents and perhaps some rabbits in our garden. I have a lot of herbs that I use almost every day for my cooking, but my tomatoes are my pride and joy. And as you know from the last video, we have had varmints, and we have determined that we have seen ground squirrels. Now, they're different here in California from the tree squirrels. They went out one morning, and there was a squirrel actually sitting in the back of the garden behind one of the pots, and he turned his head around, and his eyes were as big as this, and he looked straight at me and didn't move. Can you believe that? So we have a problem, and I am very distracted by it, as is Moosie. Of course, his ideas are different from mine. Mine are running toward the distractions and how to save, particularly my plants. I have lost completely, and I've taken pictures for you. Each day I see certain things being eaten up a little bit more. They seem to come out late in the afternoon for some reason or other, but on the other hand, I've seen them pretty much most of the day. Now, I want to thank you so much for all your suggestions. I just couldn't get over all the creative suggestions that you had as to how to repel squirrels, rabbits, and rodents from the garden, and how to protect my plants. And it ran the gamut from everything from whirligigs. Now, this is how I've been spending my time. I've been shopping, ladies. Not so much for fashion, although I'll tell you about that later. I did have a Ross haul that I will fit into all this one of these days. So somebody suggested these would chase them away. So I did make a trip to Dollar Tree. Somebody suggested Bounce, the dryer sheets that you put around in the bottoms of plants. I have it all. Somebody even suggested I go out and buy some inexpensive greenhouses. Well, there's a limit to what I will do or what I can afford to do, because I've spent so much on the plants that are disappearing. And quite frankly, all this stuff, well, at Dollar Tree is not too bad. But I do have some funny stories that I thought I will just tell you for enjoyment purposes to this whole garden varmint saga. And I think you might enjoy them. I'm getting a kick out of some of them myself, quite frankly. Now, I'm dressed as a gardener today because, believe it or not, I did buy another tomato plant yesterday. I am the eternal optimist, besides being a whole bunch of other things. And I thought, I'm not going to live through the summer without tomato plants. So this time I bought one called the Whopper something or other giant tomato plant. I have some big beefs and big boys and things. But part of what I've been doing, at least the past week, to save what I have left of my basil, well, they ate 2 basil plants right down to the dirt, gone. But I do have a green pepper, a plant that is doing well right now. I have another basil that I bought, and I have several tomato plants. And I'm keeping a whole bunch of things right by my front door, outside the door, which is far enough away from the garden to hopefully keep them away. Now, it's not guaranteed, because I did place a basil plant up this end toward the patio, up on my little stool, and they found that and ate that completely, and it took them about 3 or 4 days. I just left it because it was so far gone, and they eventually finished it up. So these little critters are destructive, and I'm gonna beat them one way or another. So as you can see, I am taking your advice in many areas, at least the ones that I can afford to do, and that I think Moosie and I can handle, with the help, by the way, of Aiden. He's been a big help too. Now, this morning, Moosie felt that one of the bird feeders that he filled up yesterday was eaten up completely, and that was a birdhouse about this big, and he put about that much seed in it yesterday, and it's gone. So we might have somebody that's eating the bird seed. So we have reduced the number of feeders, which is kind of not fair for the birds, because we figured we had quite a bit of bird feeders out there feeding all different birds. We had a lot of birds, but Moosie said, well, let's see if we just maybe take away one of the Niger seed feeders and one of this feeders. We still have 2 hummingbird feeders out there, so we're doing okay there. But anything that we think can work. So yesterday morning, was my day to go on the hunt. And I figured, well, I'll start off at Dollar Tree and see what I can get in the way of these, trying to keep my expenses down, and see what I could find in the way of some of your other suggestions. Well, I was lucky because I found 7 of these. I was looking for about more than a dozen to plant all over the garden, just so that they would get scared away. And in the little breezes, these things supposedly work. So thank you for this. We're gonna put these in today. Also, I have heard about this one before, and one of you kind ladies suggested this. So I found several of these at the Dollar Tree store for $1.25. I think I bought 4 of them. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think what I will do, they're dryer sheets that fit in, make your clothes smell good, but evidently the squirrels and the rodents do not like the smell of these. So I think I might maybe cut them in some strips and tie them on maybe the plant holders or what. Oh, I also bought a jug of peppermint oil, and I was spraying some of the plants with that a couple days ago. That didn't seem to work, although I have, what did I pay? $20 for a jug of that. Now, some of the other things that I found at Dollar Tree were interesting, and I looked at everything. Now look at this little thing. I thought, this was in the cat and the doggy aisle at the Dollar Tree, and I thought, would you think that a squirrel, if he saw this little fellow sitting in one of my tomato pots, wouldn't he be afraid when he looked at those eyes, looking back at him? Well, I could only find one of them. Not that maybe he'd even step on that and jump down over the hill. So I only found one of these. So I have this. I have these. I did quite well at Dollar Tree. I have my bounce. I have a whole bunch of what. Oh, let me get this. Anything that I thought was sparkly would chase them away. So I saw all these little things that you hang all over the place for decorations, and I thought I could hang these up on there. It might chase birds away too, but hanging these around pots and on the fence. Many of you suggested anything like this that the wind might blow would scare them away before they had a chance to chew on anything. So I followed that hint for a while, and since it was a day or two after 4th of July, I ran into some of these. Now, I don't even know what these are. I think you just sit them around on a table. These might scare them away. I bought a couple of these. I even bought some wrappings. Anything sparkly that might move in the breezes might help. Can you see? Look at all this stuff. As you can see, I became very obsessed about all this. one way or another, I'm going to get them. I even saw this, which I thought number one was cute, but anything that sparkled was cute. Now, you could go crazy. I always do go crazy at Dollar Trees or 99-cent stores. So these are going in the garden. Now, my garden is probably going to look like something that the cat dragged in when I get finished with all this, but it sure is going to look pretty and sparkly. I don't know who else it might scare away, but we'll see. Now, one of the other, and this is funny, one of the other suggestions was snakes. Rodents and all of those bunny rabbits and everybody are afraid of snakes. So someone said, why don't you get some of those play snakes, those rubber snakes, and put those in some of the pots? And I thought, that's a great idea. And I thought I had seen them in Michael's. So my next stop after I left the Dollar Tree was Michael's. One of these play snakes, in fact, they were both, $22.95. Well, I didn't believe it when I looked at it. Why would they charge that much for a play snake? I thought, well, I can't buy this. It's got to be wrong. $22.95 for a snake. You know what? I could probably make my own snakes. All I'd have to do is to buy some clay and rub the clay around and then get out my paints and paint them to look like rattlesnakes and everything. I thought, that's what I'm going to do. So I started to look around, but I put the snake in my cart because I didn't believe the price. So I was going to buy the snake if he turned out to be $2 instead of $22. But I did manage to pick up a very heavy thing of molding clay, which I can use for anything. But anyway, this cost me $8.95. So this was my alternative in case the snake turned out to be a $2 snake. Well, when I got up the front, she said, oh, yes, ma'am, this snake is on sale. And I thought, oh, great, I won't have to buy the clay. Well, it was on sale for $11.95. So I put the snake back and I bought the clay, which is all I bought at Michael's. So then I had to get some things for Moosie at Lowe's. I had to do a little bit of shopping at Walmart. And of course I went into the gardens place at Walmart, and I saw that the tomato plants were still there. And this one tomato plant just called me. It was big, and it had the most lovely little yellow buds on it, and it said it was Whopper size tomatoes. So I bought that. Now, it was a big pot, too. Normally, I buy the little ones and start, but I'm getting a late start now here, right? Because I've lost some time trying to get rid of these. My plants that I bought 2 weeks ago should have been this tall by now, but they got eaten up. So I did buy one of these nice big $9.95 tomato plants, and I thought, oh, I hope all this works. So as I was checking out, I did buy some food. I needed some food and things. And as I was checking out, it was near the children's toy. The checkout was sort of near the children's toy area. And you know, Walmart has aisles and aisles of toys. So I walked in there up and down looking for snakes. And I thought, there's got to be snakes around. I know I've seen them in the past. Walked up and down 3 aisles, and my legs were starting to get tired. My energy was going. By now, I'm on my third store, and I still had 2 more to go to. I had to go to Lowe's for Moosie. I saw a young boy with his Walmart jacket on. He was walking up and down the aisles. I said, do you know if you have any snakes, toy snakes anywhere? And he laughed. He said, what? Yeah. I said, I need them for my garden. I have to chase away squirrels and rodents. And I said, someone suggested I get some snakes. So he laughed. He said, yeah, I think I know where the snakes are. And I thought, wow, in all these aisles, this great kid knows where it is. So he took me to an aisle, and down on the bottom shelf, in a box about this big, were probably 24 snakes. And I said, oh my gosh. I said, are they cheap? He said, yeah, they're $1.20. I said, oh. So he took the box up, and guess what I bought? Can you believe this? I bought 5 snakes. So we started looking at the snakes together. And I said, okay, now you've done great so far, my friend. But tell me now, what snake would the squirrel or the rodent be afraid of? He said, well, probably a rattlesnake. So let's find a rattlesnake. So he found this guy. Look at these snakes. Now, I tell you, nobody hates snakes more than I do. I will run to the other side of the earth if I see a snake anywhere, a real snake. I don't like them. I get shivers when I look at snakes in movies. I just don't like them. But I'm on a mission, right? Now, these little snakes. So we looked through the pile, and he found me some snakes. He said, no, you need some with different colors, too. So I had some green ones. I have yellow ones, and they're very scary. You see their tongue is ready to get those squirrels. And I have a bunch of snakes. So, as you can see, I'm in my garden overalls. Moosie is already out there this morning, and I have some work to do.
Whatever are you doing?
I'm having fun, number one. I'm putting the bounce around, and I'm doing these. You know, for a gal that hates snakes, this isn't bad. I got a couple in my tomato pots already. Oh!
You're scaring yourself?
I know. But do you see my whirligigs going around and around? Look at that. Isn't that something?
A little breeze going and away they go.
I think that's a great idea. Did you see the snake up there? Zero in on that guy that I put up here.
Oh, the one that's hanging in the air?
Yeah, him up there.
That's scary, man.
Isn't he? And I have one down here. Where else should I put one?
Can't tell you. Not being a ground squirrel.
Huh. Maybe down there somewhere.
Okay.
I can't get in there. Can't. Well, this is what happened to my basil. And it was a nice big fluffy one. And I did put some of these bits and pieces of geranium in there because I thought that scent would chase them away. But now I have a snake in there if they want to go back and finish it off. We'll see. Now, before I end all these rabbit hole stories, and I hope that you're enjoying this. I mean, it's pure just storytelling, but it's true. Also, someone suggested that you could buy fox urine. I thought, oh my gosh, can you believe that? I'm sure, you know, I had mentioned the fact that I was so sad that Shamu was gone too for many reasons because he was our pet. But also, I had none of these problems when Shamu was here. And this all happened probably about a week, 10 days after Shamu left us. And you know what happened to poor Shamu. Well, I thought to myself, you know, he did capture quite a few things and would bring them to me as presents. But they say that just a cat on a property, and he was with us for 14 years, marks his territory. And so Shamu's urine was all over the place, I'm sure, and that deterred them. And Colleen and I were talking a week or so ago, and we talked about the possibility of having a feral cat around. Someone even suggested you can buy feral cats at a shelter or something, or other people actually raise feral cats, particularly for purposes like this. I just amazed some of the stories that I've heard. So Moosie and I were talking about this, and I said, maybe I should see where I could find some fox urine and try and get that. Maybe I could pick that up at the feed store or someplace. So I could see a sparkle in Moosie's eyes with this conversation going here. And I said, well, why don't I just look it up on Amazon? So I did. I looked it up on Amazon while he and I were sitting outside. And I saw, believe it or not, I typed in fox urine and it came up, and lo and behold, they sell fox urine. So I went down and I started seeing fox urine, and I saw the prices and the ounces and whatever. I couldn't believe this. Fox urine, $24, $22.95 for 16 ounces. I couldn't believe that. Now, 16 ounces, first of all, doesn't go very far. Why would people spend that much money for just a little bit of fox urine? So I looked at Moosie. His response was, wow. He said, I'd sell you some urine for a lot less than that. Well, that was the end of that. I thought, okay, now we're getting crazy. So, my friends, thank you for all your suggestions. I think I better end with that. Now, one of the other best suggestions, too, that I thought was great was to get some netting and to put it over, especially the tomato plants, because I do have those rings, you know, those tomato, I forget the word for it. And you could drape something, but I couldn't find that anywhere. I'm going to get busy and see what I can do. I'm sure Moosie is going to have a few laughs as I'm out there tying up sparkles and things all over the place, putting snakes around, and trying to save my garden. Thank you for all your help, and I will keep you posted as to how we're doing on all this. And it's going to be kind of a contest in a way, isn't it? To see whose suggestion is the one that works. Now, I don't know how I'll know whether the snakes are going to keep these things away, whether it's my nice little panda bear, is he going to do the job? Or is it going to be my whirligigs and all the sparkles? Who knows? Oh, or my peppermint oil, which I don't even know where that is right now. Oh, that's outside. So let's see who wins in the game of helping Nanny to keep her herbs, particularly. I still have flowers left. There's certain plants that they don't go for. I tried the geranium deterrent thing, but they still ate plants where I placed leaves and cuttings of geraniums. So that one didn't work. So it's a game of hit or miss. Wish me luck, my friends. Hope you enjoyed my stories. So actually, Moosie and I have been doing other things besides chasing squirrels and rodents and everything away from the garden. We did have a lovely day yesterday, late in the afternoon, after I got home from all my shopping. We went over to Bridget's house. So Bridget is our oldest granddaughter of 20 grandchildren. She's the oldest daughter of our son, Billy. And two of her girls, Brinley and Brooke, had birthdays last week. But Brooke was away at camp during her birthday, and the family was out at the river in the desert for Brinley's birthday. So she decided to have a family gathering yesterday, and we went over to that, and Shep had been cooking ribs, and it was a great day. All the little kids were swimming, and the teenagers were swimming and having fun and playing basketball and all sorts of things. And lots of of grandkids and Moosie and I. Our new little Charlie, my two little sweethearts. She said the ribs have been cooking since noontime. The lineup is there for the ribs and the rest of the meal. Yummy. I understand you were babysitting your horsey the other night with the fireworks. What?
Live photo right here.
Oh!
The strip down his back, it's like the real hair, you know? He's so excited to see her.
You don't look like a granny, that's for sure. Beautiful. Are you going to take it apart or save it for a ride? Bye. Where's he going? We just had a great time. We stayed a couple hours. Everybody brought different appetizers, eats. We ended up making ice cream sundaes. She had spreads out with all sorts of toppings, and it was a great day. So we didn't get home till about 8 o'clock at night, and it was a nice break from the total concentration of and just our brains just going crazy thinking about squirrels and rats and bunny rabbits. So, as Moosie always says, just being around family just keeps his spirits going for weeks afterward. And it's true. It really is true. These are the ones that I'm protecting. By the front door, I have all my big beef tomatoes that I've bought recently. These are the ones that I take in the house every once in a while. I even have some buds on my pepper plants, and this basil is thriving. So a terrible place to keep these, but this is my new tomato plant. Look at that. This is great. This is my big whopper. Well, I'm in from the garden doing my deed for the morning. I do have to do some work in here for a change. Got to attack my kitchen. We had a great day yesterday, so didn't do much here all day long. I do, in the next video, want to show you my Ross haul. A couple of days ago, I just decided I had to get out of the house. My spirits were low. I did have some energy. I went out early in the morning, and I needed some new summer tops. Casual ones and ones maybe to go to a family event. Something cool, but cute at the same time. And I bought about 4 or 5 really cute tops. One of them I wore to Bridget's house yesterday for the family birthday party. And this one also, which was on sale for $5.99 at Ross. And it's a light, sort of a crepey gauze type with some ruffles on the sleeves. Probably will go with anything. It's not a color that I normally buy, but I love it. And it goes with one of my new garden jumpsuits, a real flowery something. I was going to wear that this morning, but I tried it on. The pants are too long. So I do have some sewing jobs. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. Another Gabby video with some funny stories. Though maybe it would bring your spirits up a little bit. And it just shows how you can become so obsessed with something, the lengths that you'll go to find a solution. And unfortunately, that's my thing. So thanks so much for watching, my friends. Do think about subscribing. We'd love to have you here with us. Love you all, my friends. Thank you for all your wishes, and definitely thank you for all those great comments you made about doing things to save my garden. and I'll keep you up to date as to how we're doing. I just love the whirligigs and love those snakes. I'm going back and getting more. Bye for now. Love you all, and God bless us all.